Do your coworkers ever piss you off?
Yeah, I have one coworker in particular.
Okay, Kayla, I got one too. On today's episode, we're talking coworker pet peeves and green flags, and we want to hear yours too.
Let's get into it. Kyle, you know what bothers me about you?
Wow. Bold start to the episode. Yeah, tell me, Kayla.
You're so freaking positive all the time.
Too positive.
I spend so much time on this podcast talking about my work rants, my pet peeves. I have not heard you be negative enough.
I just want to say, this isn't even what we scripted for this inch. Kayla just went straight for the jugular. Don't worry, though. I have pet peeves.
I want to hear them.
Okay, I have two pet peeves for you. These are pet peeves at work.
Okay.
Things that just kind of grate you about your coworkers. I have a caveat though. I'm not saying this is someone specifically at Morning Brew, and we all do a little bit of this sometimes. So it's
about me, isn't it?
No. I just don't want, it's not malicious. We all do this sometimes. Let's get to the pet peeves though. My number one, I'm calling filibuster Frank.
Okay.
This is the person.
Frank at Morning Brew is about to be very offended.
I think we have a Frankie. It's not about Frankie though.
Yeah.
I picked this name because it's not about anyone named Frank. Filibuster Frank. What they do is when you ask them a very simple question, it's almost like you're asking someone who's in front of the U.S. Senate, and they just start talking about random shit that is not related to your question at all. And so getting to an answer takes like 15 minutes. And if you have a list of 10 questions, well, I don't have 150 minutes to give you in this meeting. And so you have to have meeting after meeting after meeting to get very basic things answered by this person because it feels like they're filibustering. So much so that sometimes I don't know if it's intentional. Like they don't have the answer to the question and they don't want to tell me.
Stalling.
So they're stalling. They're reading Cat in the Hat live in the Google Meet. Or if like this is just how they are. And there's just no avoiding it. And I don't even know which one is worse. But that shit gets me going.
Okay, so I know we joked that it was about me, but I feel like this is about me.
It's not about you.
I'm such a rambler.
There's a difference between a rambler, which I think is a general disposition.
You're like, you are that.
I believe that's a terminal illness. A general disposition where it's like a storytelling thing.
Yeah.
I love your stories. I think you're in some ways a better storyteller than me. Okay?
In many ways, to be clear.
So ramblers, but when I'm talking to you about work, you get to the point.
Yeah.
It lands the plane and it's smart.
Sometimes I don't know how I'm going to land the plane when I start the conversation, but I do land it.
You're like a Spirit Airlines pilot, you know? You don't know how you're going to land the plane, but somehow they keep doing it.
Exactly.
Yeah. So filibuster Frank, big pet peeve of mine. And I think something you want to avoid. I think the flip side, clear communicator, ask a question, get an answer.
Yep.
Like the more you can just be succinct, speak with brevity, particularly at work, I think the better off you'll be.
Okay, so I have two questions for you on that. Number one, if you are someone who is prone to filibustering, maybe not rambling, but like somebody who is prone to having random thoughts and spurting them out in the middle of what do you do?
I don't even think it's random thoughts. Like it's more like, hey, what's this metric? What did you talk about with this person? And it's like just a very specific question. And then it's not random thoughts. It's just like, and then it just like never gets to the answer.
I see.
It's not like, hey, sorry to interrupt, but like this just popped into my head.
Right.
It's more like they start a journey and it's like going through Candyland and you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
I thought this would be a 2-word answer.
Right.
How did we get here? So how do you avoid that? Maybe I just filibuster Franks this podcast. I think it goes back to like, sometimes just you don't always have to speak at length. If someone asks you a question, you can just answer it. I think the thing underneath it sometimes is an insecurity or a lack of confidence that you know the right answer. But the simple way is just to say, I'm not sure. Let me go figure that out. Instead of going on this diatribe and like getting lost a million different ways, I'm not sure what the answer is. That's a great question. Let me figure that out for you.
I also wonder if some of it is like, I need to provide context.
Maybe.
And it's like, what's this metric? Well, I'm going to tell you what it is, but you might push back on me. So in order to prevent pushback, I'm going to tell you how I came to that conclusion that the metric is the right one.
Yeah.
That this number is the right number to measure in this metric.
Yeah.
So like, I'm going to preempt you. I've seen that sometimes too, but like, I think, like, what do you do on the other side? If you're getting filibustered and you're like, I have love for this person. It's not malice.
Yeah.
It's not done like to harm me, but how do I shift to a more succinct answer?
We got to talk to a senator there and figure out how they stop the filibuster. I don't know, something involving Joe Manchin or something. No, I think you have to politely interject if you can and be like, hey, I'm sorry. I think this is drifting further away and we can talk about that later, but I just have a very specific question. What's X? You have to recenter it, I think. And honestly, getting good at that. And I think really good leaders are like great at like, hey, okay, we can talk about that later, but like this meeting has a purpose. We have to cover 5 more things and we're already 10 minutes in. Like, I really want this to be dialed in. What's X? Okay, what's Y? You have to keep things on the rails. I think it's a great leadership trait to develop is the ability to do that.
That makes a lot of sense.
Okay, that filibuster Franks out there. I do it sometimes too, hand up, but let's try to cut down the filibuster Franks.
Okay, I'm into it.
Your pet peeve.
We're switching off.
Is this one about me?
No.
Okay, not a lot of confidence in that. No,
I don't think so. Okay, so this is one of my pet peeves. Perceived dominance.
What the? This is some Sigmund Freud shit. All right, perceived dominance. Hit me. What does that mean?
So this basically is a fancy way. I was trying to think of like something like filibuster Frank, and I was like, I'm not doing that because that's so corny.
Perceived dominance, Daryl.
Yeah. It's when somebody tells me what to do, but they're not in a position to tell me what to do. And so I think what that perceived dominance over me, where it's like I am more senior than you or better than you in some way, and I can direct you, when there is no earthly reason why you could do that, is very frustrating, especially when usually if you're asking me to do a task, I am more than willing to do it. It's like, but don't direct me.
Yeah.
Like, oh, hey, Kaila, I super appreciate that you're busy. Is it possible to have a meeting later this week about blah, blah, blah? I'm really curious how it's going. I am so down. But if you're like, hey, you need to tell me what X, Y, and Z is up to, I'm like I don't know you.
Whoa. Yeah. Who are you again?
Yeah. And actually, now that I'm saying it, this is basically like the summation of my annoyance with last week's episode where people talk to me like I'm Claude. That's actually the exact same thing.
Yeah.
So I've just said it twice.
We're finding a common theme in your life. Do you find that this comes mainly from people who are more junior than you and you're like, whoa, like, okay, know your place, freshman? Or is this someone who's more senior than you but further away in the org chart? So like, you're like, what kind of titular authority do you have over my domain here?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's so person dependent, but I try not to be like, oh, you're a year out of college, like stop telling me what to do, because first of all, that doesn't happen. Like,
that'd be kind of, honestly, I'd respect it. I'd be like,
super ballsy.
She's going to be a CEO one day.
Yeah,
like shit. Yeah.
What's going on here? But usually it's people, I think I'm more annoyed when it's people who I perceive as peers.
Yeah.
Like if the CEO, if Robert's like, hey, can you do this? I'm like, obviously.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Like, that's fine. Like, that's what he's supposed to be doing.
I see.
But I think the secondary portion of this is when you tell me to do something that's 100% in my job description. Like, if somebody that's like a peer of mine is like, hey, could you run this event?
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, first of all, I'm the one who started the event.
Yeah.
Like, I'm running the event. Like, why are you telling me to do my job?
Yeah. Like, hey, Kaila, could you direct some consumer revenue for me, please? You're like, that's my title.
Actually what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And to me that like, I'm like, are you not confident that I'm doing my job right? So that I find very frustrating. Is
there a strategy you have to push back against that when it happens?
So I have to be honest, it doesn't happen a lot very much anymore.
Okay.
And I'm kind of curious, like when it does happen, I'm always like, oh, what do I do here? Like, I'm not going to tattle my peers to my boss, because what are we going to do there? It's just like, then I'm just tattling. But I'm curious if you have any thoughts.
I'm trying to think of like,
can't have
you have to like assert your dominance. You're like, maybe I'll do that, but first do this for me.
Right. Like, are we eye for an eye? Are we Hammurabi's coding it? Like, what are we doing?
Yeah. Just send a picture of your creatine on your desk. Be like, what you say, player? Maybe something like that. No, I have advice on the flip side, which is part of getting someone to do something you want is landing the message and having a relationship with them and, the way that the message lands with them is the first part of them doing the task you want them to. And so if you're coming in hot and it feels like you're just bossing someone around who is not expecting to be bossed around from you, that's just not going to yield good results.
Yeah.
And so I think spending more time thinking about how your message lands and less about necessarily what the message is would benefit everyone.
I agree. I want to move on to your next.
Okay. Perceived dominance. I like the pet peeve. Oh, this is mine is good. Mine is good. Do not hit the pause button, people.
New pet peeve of mine when Kyle hypes up his own ideas.
Oh, it's a good one. I'm calling this the hot dog suit.
Yeah.
Okay, Kaila knows. We talked about this a little bit. If you don't know this meme, there's a meme where someone's in a hot dog suit.
Tim Robinson.
And he says, we're all looking for the person who did this. And the person who did this is crash a hot dog cart into a house.
Yeah.
So he obviously did it.
He's wearing a hot dog suit.
I know explaining memes is probably not cool, but that is the meme that inspires hot dog suit. The pet peeve is when someone complains about something that is literally their job. You're in marketing and you're like, man, the marketing sucks. You're like, brother, that's you.
You're in charge of the marketing.
You're wearing the hot dog suit. That's who did it. You. Oh my gosh, that is such a big pet peeve. And it's like this just zero agency. Oh, like I'm just here and nothing really matters. And like if things suck, but they're my fault, who cares? That it drives me up a wall.
Yeah, I also think like there's an element of the hot dog suit portion, which is like the finger pointing.
Yeah.
Which is like nobody could say who's possibly responsible for this. And I think the flip side of that, the green flag equivalent on the other side is like somebody who takes responsibility for their actions.
Yeah.
And I think that's like, it's such a weird thing to be like sitting in a meeting and listening to someone be like, this sucks. There's no way to change it. And I don't know who could possibly, fix this. And it's like, it's you, brother.
It's you. Yeah, I think, and again, like there's all elements of these in our own work lives. And I do think, sometimes you have like a difficult task and it feels like nothing's working and like, this just sucks. There's nothing we can do. And we all have gravitated towards that, but I do think that is not the best mindset. And finding ways to break it down into smaller tasks or like even getting more allies around to focus on it with you. But if it is in your remit, it is quite literally your job. And I think complaining about something that is your responsibility is just so counterproductive. So the hot dog suit, if I see that, I'm pretty fired up.
I love that, and I'm going to be using that. Hot dog suit is so funny.
I'm just in a meeting, I'll be like, you're hot dog suiting this. Okay, come on. Take some responsibility.
Perfect. And we'll be right back after this. Okay, back to the show.
All right, what's your second pet peeve?
All right, my second pet peeve is someone we're calling the relitigator.
Ooh.
Okay. So as Kyle takes a sip of his what is it, a dirty Coke?
Dirty Coke, Diet Coke and coffee.
Disgusting.
I'm a sicko.
Another pet peeve of mine I've just noticed is when people mix drinks they shouldn't be mixing. Okay, so this is when somebody makes a decision. It's a big conversation. We're arguing about it. We're not sure which direction, A or B. You decide we're going to do direction A. And then a week later, someone comes back, well, I think we should talk about B. Mm-hmm. It's like, no, we decided A.
We've talked about B.
We've talked about it. We know why it's not a good idea. Maybe something changed. Maybe then it's worth relitigating. But let's just disagree and commit.
Yes. I think the exact opposite of that pet peeve is the disagree and commit. Have the argument. Go in front of the Supreme Court, say X, Y, or Z, but when the people in the black robes come out and say, look, we're going with A, you just have to move on. Yeah. Like, we can't relitigate every single decision at every single point in the company, or we'll never get anything done. And again, I think flip side, green flag, which we'll talk about in a second, is the person who like vehemently argues their point of view, maybe has a lot of good points. Maybe they want A, but even their points sharpen B. But once the team decides on B, it's like, okay, I'm going to be a team player, and I'm going to do my best to make team or B work.
Right.
The worst is the person who's like, I really wanted A, so I'm going to sabotage B now. We're not doing A, and now B sucks too. Right. Like, come on, man. So I like that one. Don't be a relitigator. Yeah,
I think and a tactic there is like if somebody's relitigating at you.
Yeah. Ooh.
What do you do? I honestly don't know. Like, I feel like it's like, guys, besides being like, we talked about this last week. We decided on A. Like, let's move on.
Yeah.
it's hard to be like, stop relitigating this issue.
I feel like it's, I'm not a lawyer, so this probably is not true, but maybe. I feel like if you find new evidence, you can open up the case again.
I don't know that maybe.
All right, we're not lawyers. Yeah. We're not even, my dad was, but I'm certainly not. I would tell the person, do you have new evidence? Mm-hmm. Like, if we're just going to talk about all the stuff we talked about in the past, there's no point. And like, if they don't, like, okay, move on. If they have some new thing that's like, oh, we really should do B because this new discovery just happened, maybe I'll listen to
That's
them.
actually pretty smart.
Okay, there we go. I'm a lawyer.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Good. All right, let's move on to green flags. Kayla, I got one for you.
Okay, so to be clear, these are green flags. These are things that we've noticed in coworkers, and this we have noticed in Morning Brew coworkers because everyone's a green flag in Morning Brew.
Exactly.
And we want to highlight them. These are things that are like the opposite of pet peeves. When I see somebody doing this, I'm like, damn.
You want to work with that person.
I want to work with you more. You're good at your job. Like, you're killing it. Let's go.
Yes. Okay, my green flag, I'm calling the set it and forget it. This is someone who is so consistent. If they tell you they will do something, you have zero doubt that it's going to get done. Oh my God. I love working with those people. Like, it's so nice to just have a task. They're like, I'm going to do it. You can almost delete the task from your brain. You're that confident it's going to get done. And the crazy thing is like, this doesn't seem that hard, but it is kind of rare. And those people who are just routinely so consistent, set it and forget it, a godsend. That's who I want working on my team.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, of course it makes sense. It's somebody that's reliable, ultimately. Yeah. And it's like, if I have this conversation with you, I know whatever outcome we have from this conversation is going to be completed or communicated if they
Exactly. I think that is a big caveat is like, sometimes you just can't do it or the timeline shifts, but then they communicate that and you're like, just always confident they will get to the goal or tell you why they can't.
Yeah.
It won't just disappear into this black box. And then like 3 weeks later, you're like, hey, did you do the thing that you said you were going to do? And they're like, oh, no.
It didn't work out.
And then they start hitting you with a filibuster Frank and then
the hot dog suit and all the pet peeves come out.
And then they come out. So that's my number one green flag.
I really like that. And if you're somebody who wants to be a set it and forget it kind of person, what do you do?
Write down what you said you would do. Actually, not to flex on my own LinkedIn, but I had a LinkedIn post about this.
Oh, okay.
That was like, I think most people want to be this. They want to do what they said they're going to do, but we're all guilty of it. Sometimes we don't. Why? I think there's a few reasons. One is like, you literally don't remember what you said you would do. Like you go to a meeting, you don't write it down, you leave and you're like, what were my action steps? I mean, we can solve that. Get granola, not paid. They were a great sponsor. Come back, granola. But it's a great meeting recorder. But like, you just get anything. Like, record your meetings, then you know what your action steps are. Or take a little thing called the pen or pencil, write that thing down on a piece of paper, do what's on the paper, cross it out. That feels good. So just literally remembering what you said you'd do. The second is, don't agree to stuff you know you're not going to do.
Right.
We all have been there. You just want the conversation to end. And you're like, yeah, all sure, right, I'll do that. And you just hope that they forget.
Yeah.
No, like, be a big boy. Like, say, no, I don't think we should do that.
Yeah.
And if, again, disagree and commit. If the decision is, no, you're going to do that, and you say you're going to do that, don't do the BS thing where you know you're not going to. I think man up and say no.
Can I gently push back?
Oh, please.
So I think that if you want to become a set it and forget it kind of person, like 100%, I think active 100%.
Yeah.
Active communication in the moment is very important. I also think that sometimes there are some people, and I have in the past had bosses like this, where I'm like, you're asking me to do something insane. I know you don't mean it. And like, I know you're going to forget about it, but it's just like in the heat of the moment, you're like, oh my God, yes, we should do an entirely different project, blah, 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 that's due in 3 weeks. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to cover my ass and like do what I need to do to make sure that if they follow up, but they're not going to remember this in 24 hours and it's not that important. And I just like, don't do it.
All right. Maybe there's a little, I know what you're saying. Maybe there's some subtle there.
You can still be a set it and forget it kind of person and also have taste.
And also be a little discerning. Yeah. All right. Fair counterpoint. Yeah. What's your green flag?
All right. We're calling this one credit where credit is due.
Oh, yes.
So I love this person where there's a big project and for some reason they are responsible for reporting out in some way. And it's very easy when you are the one talking about all the things that have been accomplished in a team project. It's very easy to not give credit out to others. Now, I think one of the best green flags I've seen is in people who are like, this was such a huge group effort. Here's who was involved. Thank you so much, Kyle. Bringing up the pet peeves in our production meeting was like so fun. And we were like, we've got to do an episode on this. We couldn't have done this without you.
You're welcome.
And stuff like that. And now there's a line here.
Yeah.
Like if somebody's like, it wasn't me at all. I didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Everyone else is so smart.
I'm an idiot.
Just a dumb bitch who just happens to be in front of you presenting the results of this today. No other reason. Like, stop with that. You're not a martyr. It's a job.
You contributed still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like there's a line, but I think it's very, very important to delegate credit if you're delegating tasks.
Yeah, I agree. And there is like a you shouldn't be thanking 100 people. Then you're like, okay.
Yeah.
Then just say like, thanks to everyone.
Yeah.
But I think like being very specific and like, no, this would not have gotten done without these 5 people. Mm-hmm. I think this is like my favorite green flag. Like I love that you brought this up, and it's such an easy thing to do. And it really, I think, builds a lot of team chemistry, team camaraderie. I think we're very good at this at Morning Brew, at least as far as I can tell. So I think it also creates just a great culture.
I agree. All right, what's your next green flag?
Green flag, Kayla, is you take the work seriously, but you don't take yourself too seriously. You got a little silly goose in you.
Yeah, silly goose
You're
time.
in your silly goose era. I mean, look, yeah, one, the work, unless you're like, a trauma surgeon, some work is very important. You should always take that seriously.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much you should be laughing if you're in a trauma.
Yeah, I think especially if you're like making very small stitches. You can't be
don't laugh.
shaking
You're tying up someone's heart.
Yeah. Don't do that.
No jokes.
I don't
no
know.
jokes.
I have heard that orthopedic surgeons listen to really good music. So maybe there's something there.
Okay, we'll have to investigate on the next episode of Purple Ice. No. But I think for the most part, you're a knowledge worker.
Yeah.
You're building an AI agent that does probably nothing. It's okay. Like take it seriously. Do a good job, but I think lighten up. Have some fun. And again, it goes back to the team culture. I think we all like to work with people who are enthusiastic about the work. They take it seriously. They care about doing a good job, but they're not so intense that like you can't even have a normal conversation with them. Mm. And honestly, I think the best workers do both. They are absolute killers at their job, but they can crack a joke. They care about you. They ask you questions about their life. And so I think not taking everything so seriously is a really big green flag.
I also think on top of that, like a sense of humor, like not everyone has a sense of humor and like that's okay. Like not everyone's funny.
Yeah, like you.
Like, first of all, that is actually offensive. No. Like if you don't have a sense of humor, you can't like take a joke. That is fine. You can also, to me, taking everything super seriously is like a fragility. It's like I am so rigid that if anything veers slightly outside of the lines that I've drawn for this project or for this conversation,
I'll crash out.
I'll crash out. Yeah. It's a failure. Like there's a difference between cracking a joke, which I think is also very important. I think it's very fun, especially obviously we work at Morning Brew, like humor is important, but like being inflexible to me is taking yourself too serious.
I love this point. It's like not taking yourself seriously is a form of resilience. A little bit. That's a great call out. Also, there's a book, Humor Seriously, about humor in the workplace and how effective it is. Go check it out. Again, not a plug.
It is a plug, but not paid.
Not paid. Last green flag.
Oh, me. Okay. Yeah. Yes. Fast follow-ups.
Ooh,
so
love an FF.
Yeah, a fast follow-up is I think very important. Also, it's very similar in my mind to your set it and forget it, which is like I don't need to be like, shoot, where did we decide, to take this project? Like I have a one-on-one with somebody and then they respond within 30 minutes of like, by the way, this is what we talked about. This is what I'm doing next. And this is what I'm doing it by. Even if you are not the set it and forget it kind of person where I might still have to follow up in a few days, like that gives you so much more leeway.
Yeah.
When it's like, well, they know that they have to do this by then. I'm not going to bother. If they tell me they're going to do it by Friday, I'm not going to bother them on Thursday reminding them.
Yeah.
Like I might bother them on Monday once they've like not actually given it to me. But the fast follow-up gives a lot more leeway because I'm like not waiting around for when is this going to come to me.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I think if you do a fast follow, you're kind of calling your shot. You're like, I'm going to get it to you by Friday. And then respectfully, you just, okay, you called the shot. We'll see. Friday ends. If you don't have it on Monday, you check in. But I agree, it eliminates the like Friday message like, yo, you never followed up.
Or the like Wednesday because I don't even know when you're supposed to have done it. And now I'm like, wait, is it too, like, am I being too like am I expecting too much of you? Like, I don't know what your timeline looks like.
Yeah.
So just having the timelines like discussed quickly, either in the meeting or like right after is huge.
Agreed. Okay, we covered some pet peeves.
Yeah.
We covered some green flags. Don't be a filibuster, Frank. Don't put on the hot dog suit, people. Don't do it.
Don't. That's all I got for you. I am curious, though. I'm curious what your pet peeves are at work, because I feel like it's one-sided right now. I want to hear what bothers you.
Yes, drop your pet peeve in the comment. YouTube, Spotify. That's a great call out.
Thank you.
I want to hear
Email.
your pet peeves. Email, per my last email, @morningbrew.com. With that being said, Kayla, let's roll the credits.
Let's do it.
Our producer is Michaela Heck.
Our technical director is Nina Miller.
Jim Orso is our sound engineer.
And our president is Devin Emery.
This show is a production of Morning Brew.
Thanks for listening, and we'll have pet peeves with you next week.
Peace.